One of the things that's really important to understand in the world, and this is how deceptive people work, deceptive organizations, people with evil intentions. And when I mean evil, these are people that are not signed up to the idea of the golden rule, and that is not hurting others, doing things that others can experience easily, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. People twist this and they get some kind of a sick ideology. A lot of times it's God-based. A lot of times it's not. It's racism-based. In other words, all these people that are not my race, not my ethnicity, not my religion, not my color, they're the bad people because that's how God wants it, or that's according to what makes sense to me. So they're the bad people. So I have a right to look down on them and not be kind to them. And you'll see that a lot. You'll see people, especially in an earlier video, I mentioned something about how when you're in a cult, it automatically causes you to be dishonest because you think you're better than the others. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the cult. That's what a cult is all about. Being superior, having God's favor, or having some other kind of special privilege, some special entitlement that makes you special. And I can't think of anything more entitled than thinking that you have a relationship with some deity, one-on-one, personal relationship. That's about as sick as you can get if you want to be a humble person who's respecting others as equals. Who's equal to you if you talk to God? Only the other people that talk to God in the same way you talk to God, sharing the same group of sick ideologies. What's the magic of diversion and no accountability? What's a really good example right now is what's going on in Palestine. Here we are on the 23rd of March, 2024, and the war is raging, and they're talking about invading Rafah and things like that. The people that are supporting this genocide, it's very clearly decided, no question about it, ethnic cleansing, genocide, and what is it called? Punishing all the people in a certain geographic area. I forgot the term for that. So if you're punishing, if you're making the whole collective, you're punishing a whole collective instead of just their army, for example. That's also a war crime. So this group, this terrorist group that created this state, they feel that they have the right to land that they never lived in. Kick out the people that have been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years because of some ancient idea, some concept that's not even true because most of them don't even have a bloodline going back. So what do? They kill 40,000 people so far. 7,000 are like missing, hiding, or crushed under the rubble of the blown up buildings. Fly your F-15 jet over a building full of innocent people that have no weapons whatsoever and drop a bomb on them, blow up their building and blow up all the people. This is what's been going on. And the justification for this? A couple hundred people that were killed on October 7th. So this is a diversion. This is diverting. This is saying, if I tell you, hey, you killed my cat, you might say, well, people kill cats all the time. This is just what happens. Your neighbor, he killed 2 cats. So this is not accepting responsibility for what you're doing. This is diverting the attention from the actual evil thing that you did. Maybe you did it by accident too. That's okay. Maybe you weren't necessarily evil-hearted about it, but you certainly are being evil by not accepting responsibility and saying, yeah, I did it. I apologize. I want to take responsibility for that in a reasonable way. I don't want you to kill my family. That's not reasonable. But if there's some way I can make it up to you, I'm sorry that I ran over your cat. This is what it sounds like when someone's willing to be accountable, willing to be responsible in a reasonable way, in a way that can keep the peace between us. Look, I made a mistake. I scratched your car when I was pulling out. I didn't see it. I scratched your car. How can I make that right? I'll pay for the repair, whatever, things like that. This is a reasonable person who wants to be held accountable. If I'm not, I'll talk about somebody else. I'll talk about something else. Now, October 7th, when some different groups from within Gaza went into Israel and invaded, took captives, killed some people, it's a bad thing to kill people always. I don't agree with that. I don't support that. But if you've been being terrorized for 75 years, deprived of clean water, deprived of food, deprived of independence. If you've been like locked in a cage in the basement, you know what this is like? This is like these sicko uh, pedophiles that will lock some children. Maybe they kidnap the children on the way home from school, drag them into the basement, lock the door, and then they'll feed them a little bit every day and things like that, and do other nasty things to them and keep them captive so they can't leave. Well, it's no exaggeration to say that Hamas has fought back, and they made a real impression, and they fought back. So this is like those children in that cage. When the guy comes down to feed them or whatever, they take something, bang him on the head and try to get out. And too bad they hit him and scratched his head, or maybe knocked him out, or maybe even killed him. Because this guy has been hassling them for 75 years, right? He's been imprisoning them and torturing them and abusing them for 75 years. Don't you think one day, a few hours in one day, fighting back and really causing some pain to this guy is more than in line, is more than justified? However, if I think I have the right to imprison you, if I think I'm superior, if I'm part of a very sick, twisted cult, and I think that I'm more important than you and I have the right to do anything I want to do, I'll just keep pointing back to the time that, oh, you hit me on the head when I was going to feed you and I was feeding you. Never mind that the guy was imprisoning them. Never mind that he was abusing them. Never mind that he was killing their family and throwing their kids in prison for no reason. And that he had, Israel's got thousands of Palestinians without any charges, holding them in jails. And that's been going on 75 years, this kind of treatment. Not giving them any rights to be independent, to come and go as they please, to be able to create their own industries and build and be positive. The only thing they've been able to do is focus on how do we get these guys out of here? How do we destroy the people that are hurting us so bad? Because the world definitely isn't helping, right? So if I divert, I say, oh no, your neighbor ran over two cats, or look at what you did to me. Your cat went poo on my lawn, or your cat was in my driveway. And they keep pointing back to what your cat did wrong. And they don't think about the 40,000 people that they killed, or that they actually murdered the cat, that they killed the cat through their own negligence. And I'm going to get you back. And I'm going to make it so that you can never fight back again. Imagine that. This sicko with the kids locked in the basement. I'm going to make it so that you can never hurt me again, because you're going to hurt me again. I'm keeping you in prison, and I have the right to do that because you're bad. How sick and twisted is that ideology? And talking about October 7th and saying, oh, some people got killed. Never mind that the Israeli army themselves were dropping bombs and blowing up and using tanks, and they're killing their own people. That's what they do. They kill their own people. They don't care. They gun down their own hostages. The hostages that were being held by the Palestinians that snuck out and were waving a white flag and yelling in Hebrew. They still shot them down. Why? Because that's what these deluded people that think they have the right to treat people this way, that's what they do. That's what they did. That's what happened. And that's what's going on. So when you hear anybody complain about October 7th and say, oh, do you want to condemn those? No, I don't condemn anybody at all. Those kids in that basement, they're fighting back. I don't condemn that. They can do anything they want to that guy. If they're trying to get freedom, do anything they want, because they've been imprisoned for 75 years. They've been abused. So try to understand the perspective here. And I think a whole slew of Americans can't do that because they're part of a Christian ideology that has something to do with the Jewish people. By the way, these people that are leading this, they're not religious people at all. And they're not your good Jewish people. These are some people that claim to be Jews, but are actually, homicidal maniacs. So you got to differentiate there. And I don't think that most of the evangelical Christians in America are able or have been doing that. And one of the most extant qualities of these people is ignorance. They don't know what's going on. They'll go for an hour a week. They go to church. They hear what the preacher says, which is according to their dogma, according to their ideologies. And the rest of the time, maybe they're reading the Bible, talking about some couple thousand-year-old ideas that have nothing to do with what's going on today, because that was 2,000 years ago. I welcome you to look into this, and I want you to understand that if you want to build a community, you hold the bad guys accountable. You don't let them do bad stuff. Not for 5 months either. And you don't give them weapons so they can kill more innocent women and children. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.